What's going on, guys? My name is Roz, and today we're going to be breaking down the worst facial flaws, starting from it never began all the way down to it's not a flaw. Okay, starting off with negative canthal tilt. Now, I don't think this flaw is as bad as people like to say it is. It was the typical flaw whenever Looksmaxxing was becoming a thing back in 2023 and early 2024. It's definitely a flaw, don't get me wrong, although I still think you can definitely pull this off if you're someone like Jacob Elordi, who, well, let's be honest, compensates for it with a Chad jaw and a height of 6'5". So for this one, I'm going to put it into, I'm going to say this is turkey trip. Next up, we have patchy beard. Now this one is simply fixable. All you gotta do is just shave your fucking face. I mean, no one asked to see that. When you're in this awkward stage where you're trying to grow a beard but you really can't, it's just a terrible look. It really is. I'm definitely gonna put this one into it never began, because if you can't learn basic grooming skills, that really did never begin. Then we have being a fat lard of shit. I mean, if you're over 15% body fat in 2025, I mean, brother, it really did never begin for you. It definitely is over. To be honest, in this day and age, it's never been easier to be in shape. You know, we have things such as GLP-1 agonists, also things called self-discipline, and not eating and exercising more. So with that being said, it's definitely one of the worst flaws, and it's gonna go into it never began. Next up is flared ears. Flared ears can definitely make you look pretty goofy, I cannot lie to you. Typically, what people will do with this flaw is they'll try to cover it with long hair, which almost always doesn't look good because then the hair starts to poke out as well. It's pretty easy to fix as well. I mean, simply inquire about an otoplasty. Ian Somerhalder himself actually had this done, and I don't think you'd see him in the Vampire Diaries today if he didn't have it done. So if you don't want to look dumbo, it's gonna go into it's over, yo. Being short. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, man, being short would definitely be a brutal thing to deal with. Thankfully, I'm 6'2" and I don't have to deal with that. No, but seriously, I emphasize with you guys, I mean, being short realistically is gonna limit your options in the dating pool quite a bit. A girl is almost always gonna want a guy that's taller than her, or at least equal height to her. So if you're a guy who's below the height of, say, 5'5", that's extremely brutal. You're probably cutting your options in half. And with the great heightflation that's going on currently, I'd say limb lengthening surgery is not looking like a bad idea. Is it over though? I don't think so. Even with a short height, you'll just be fine. Many various movie actors, for example, Tom Cruise, are doing just fine. Dating Nicole Kidman in her prime, when she was about 2 times as tall as him. If you're a short king, compensate with the face card. I'm gonna put this one into it's over. Next up, we have being too skinny. Yes, that's actually a thing. If you starve max as much as Barrett did, this is gonna make you look incredibly uncanny. For example, Eugenia Cooney, her entire comment section, which she used to upload videos all the time, was just filled with people telling her to eat. It's not a good look. Is it worse than being fat? Probably not, but it's definitely unattractive and you look very sick. So for these people, pick up the fork and book a trip to Turkey. Next up, we have excessive upper eyelid exposure. This one's an OG black pill kind of flaw. I think this one's a lot more harmful for men than it is for women. In fact, women actually get surgeries to get more upper eyelid exposure, surprisingly, but for men, it's not exactly desirable. It can make you look less alert, contributing to that prey eye appearance. If you look at pretty much any aesthetic male eye area, you're not going to see excessive amounts of upper eyelid exposure. So I'm going to say this is definitely a bad flaw, and it's going to go just beneath negative canthal tilt. Also, if you want to calculate your SMV for absolutely free, you can check out my Mogger calculator using the first link in the description. It'll take you about a few minutes to complete, and you'll get your accurate aesthetics and SMV rating. Let me know what results you got in the comment section down below. Next up, we have being too tall. So just like too fat and too skinny, you can be too short, but you can also be too tall. I think guys who are going to get into that 7-foot range, it's extremely niche appeal at that point. You're going to get fetishized for your height. You're not really going to get treated much as a person, more like a circus act. You'll definitely do better than people who are too short, but it's similar to girls who get into that 6-foot range. You can definitely be too tall. So if you're getting into that upper echelon of height, apply for the NBA and beta bucks. I'm going to put this one into noticeable flaw. Up next is too big of a forehead. This is a great image here because KSI himself knows exactly how to evade this. He's the sniper's dream. However, with a forehead like that, he'll never make a woman cream. Okay, that was a little bit mean. I think in all seriousness though, this one's very easily fixed. You can cover your forehead with a bandana, you can wear your hair over your forehead as well, or you can wear caps around. Pretty simple fix. I'd say this one goes into noticeable flaw, but kind of just turns into not really noticeable if you can hide it well. In KSI's case, it's over. Up next is a Norwooding hairline. This is quite similar. You can easily cover this with a cap. Although, if you're someone who's starting to get that red ring of death around your head, then it's time to pack it up and go to Turkey, bro. So as extremely fitting as it is, it's going into Turkey trip. Next up, we have a long fill trim. This one's fucking brutal, man. Extremely hard failure to fix, almost unfixable unless you get something like a lip lift, which obviously lifts your upper lip, shortening the distance between your upper lip and your nose, therefore contributing to a shorter fill trim appearance. Nocturnal Kent is a great example of a flaw like this. He's maxed out pretty much every other area. It's just the fill trim that's left, and if you see his comment section, that's literally all anyone can talk about. Are people in real life going to be autistic black pillars? Probably not. So I'm going to put this one into minor flaw. Although if it gets too long, it can definitely make or break your face. Up next is hooked nose. This one, in my opinion, is a little bit more of an aesthetic thing. It can look good on some people and bad on others. A lot of people, especially women, end up getting rhinoplasty rhinoplasties for this kind of nose shape, as it is a little bit more masculine. Although they'll get rhinoplasties and soon later realize that all they needed all along was a genioplasty, as this nose only typically looks bad if your jaw is underprojected. So in my opinion, it's going to go into minor flaw. I mean, you see guys like Sean O'Prye rock it just fine. Next is narrow clavicles. This one's going to be pretty brutal in real life. You have to gym cell if you're in this tier. You're not going to look very threatening to people. Women are actually biologically attracted to wide clavicles and wide shoulders. It's just in their DNA. So unfortunately, if you're someone like this, maybe opt for something like a shoulder pad. Clavicular will tell you all about it. I'm definitely going to put this one into turkey trip. It's definitely a massive flaw, not a facial flaw, which is worse, but definitely going to hold you back. Next is recessed chin. A recessed chin is typically the thing that normies are going to notice most of the time. They're not going to notice things like a recessed maxilla.
What's that? What's a maxilla?
The only people that will notice that are orthodontists and autists bed rotting in their basement. A recessed chin can definitely make or break your side profile, but that's the key point. It's your side profile. The side profile is never as important as the front. So for that reason, I'm going to put noticeable flaw. You'll actually see a lot of models actually rock a recessed chin, top tier ones as well. Now we have asymmetry. So this is the one that people always obsess over when they get into Looksmaxxing. They'll open up the iPhone camera and flip their face and they realize, holy fuck, I've been a subhuman my whole life. When that's simply just not the case. No one's looking at you in your asymmetric view or even paying attention to all the little asymmetries that you have. I can assure you, you're doing just fine. However, this is going to depend on how extreme the asymmetry is. If the asymmetry is getting on the more extreme end, it could definitely be over, but most of the time it's a very minor flaw. So I'm going to stay true to my word and put it into minor flaw. Now we have thin lips. This typically only exists for white people and is mostly a flaw for women rather than men. Men can definitely get away with this. Thin lips on women is definitely not ideal to have. Most women with thin lips end up going to get lip filler in the future anyways, regardless. But if you are someone with thin lips, just be very careful with the filler as it can migrate. So if you're going to get something like that done, be very, very careful and choose your cosmetician wisely. However, we're rating for men here, so in my opinion, it's a noticeable flaw. Also, I actually offer one-to-one coaching where I personally help transform your look, being by your side the whole way through the ascension. If that's something you're interested in and you're looking for a complete approach to perfecting your appearance and reaching your full genetic potential and perhaps beyond it, then feel free to check the second link in the description. Now we have bulging eyes. Bulging eyes, very similar to the upper eyelid exposure type of flaw. It can contribute to, I guess, what wheat waffles would say as a buggy appearance. This one would require a orbital decompression, and you're going to be walking around looking surprised all the time. Pretty much the opposite of what a hunter eye looks like. This one definitely requires a turkey trip, but if you can pull it off well, I'd say it's a bit of a noticeable flaw. I'm going to have to put this one at the end of turkey trip. Next up, we have short ramus. A short ramus is typically identified with downward growth. Typically, your gonial angle will look a little bit like this, whereas with people with short ramuses, typically have them look like this. It's a lot higher of a slope. This looks aesthetic on women, not so much on men. It's the opposite of a square mandible, which is what you're going for the ideal male aesthetic appearance. It can also make your jaw look rounded from the front, so for this reason, I'm going to put it into turkey trip. Next up, we have wide set eyes. Wide set eyes can definitely make or break your face. Most of the time, breaking it if it's too wide set. Ideally, your eyes should be about one eye length apart. A little bit too further apart or too further in is just fine, but if it's too far set, it's definitely a noticeable phalo. And to be honest with you, there's not much you can do about it, as it is where your literal eyeballs are placed on your skull. In Anya Taylor-Joy's case, I don't think it's that much of a flaw, but you watching this video probably don't have the facial aesthetics of Anya Taylor-Joy, so I would definitely put this into noticeable flaw. Next up, we have close set eyes. So other than the wide set eyes, which is more of a dolphin cell, you end up being a cyclops cell. I'd argue this is a lot less aesthetic than what wide set eyes look like. In fact, wide set eyes tend to look more aesthetic in modeling. Close set eyes, you kind of look a little bit inbred. Although in this girl's case, she's doing just fine, just like Anya Taylor-Joy, and it can definitely fit a lot of people depending on the way their face looks. I think it's definitely more of a flaw than wide set eyes, so I'm going to put this one into turkey trip, but good luck getting that one fixed in turkey. Now we have recessed maxilla. The one thing absolutely no one knows what they're talking about. A recessed maxilla is going to make your mid-face look droopy. A good way to tell is actually how far the eyes project to the nose length. So between my two fingers here. If someone's maxilla isn't very forwardly projected, it ends up looking a bit squashed in, like Robert Pattinson, for example. Whereas with Jordan Barrett, with an exceptional maxilla, it looks a lot more projected, a bit like a cat, for example. Yes, a recessed maxilla can cause issues for the rest of your face, so it's really going to depend, but I'd say in isolation, a recessed maxilla is going to be a minor flaw. Next up, we have a thin neck. A thin neck, I mean, if I can just grab your neck like this, it does not look very high test. And if you don't look high test, you're not exactly the most attractive, intimidating to other men, or just high SMV in general. Pretty easily fixed as well, add some mass to your frame in the gym. If you have a thin neck, you're typically a younger guy, and you'll notice as soon as you go from someone with a small neck to a wider neck, you'll instantly get more respect. I'm going to put this one into noticeable flaw. Now we have a long mid-face. A long mid-face is typically characterized by the eyes and the lips being too far apart. Essentially, there is a box between your face around here. The ideal mid-face is 1:1. With a long mid-face, it's going to be about 1.3. This one is definitely a noticeable flaw, although you can pull it off very well if you look aesthetic. Now we have a short mid-face. A short mid-face is going to be the opposite. With this kind of mid-face, you're going to look a little bit squished in, a bit like a baby, and a little bit too compact. The mid-face length is important, but I'd say a little bit too long, a little bit too short. It's not going to overly break your aesthetics if everything else is in place. So I'm going to put it on par with the long mid-face length. Now we have acne. Having acne, oof. As someone who has had acne, trust me, I know how bad this one is. It's absolutely brutal, but it's easily fixed with a clean diet and getting on Accutane for a couple of courses. I'm already seeing all the raw meat copers. Type in the comment section below and just eat raw chicken, blah, blah. I'm just telling you what worked for me. I'm sure eating raw turkey ballsack is probably I'm sure eating raw turkey ballsack has probably made you a sen, bro. Acne will definitely break your face though. It's on par with being fat and having a scraggly beard, so in that case, it never began. Now we have crooked teeth. If you got crooked teeth, this is going to absolutely ruin your charisma. This is definitely going to require a turkey trip, so for that, fittingly, I'll put it into turkey trip. Now we have sparse eyebrows. This is easily fixed by a minoxidil routine and eyebrow dye. Employ some microneedling as well, add a bit of tretinoin if you're not a responder, and bang, there you have it. Although sparse eyebrows as a flaw is definitely noticeable. In fact, a lot of people will almost have a brain error when they can't even calculate your facial expressions because eyebrows are so important to make them. So I'll put this one into noticeable flaw for sure. Probably actually at the end of turkey trip. Under eye bags. This is another one that's similar to asymmetry. People always ask, how do I fix my under eye bags? I mean, if you're someone who's already done the basics such as sleeping well, hydrating efficiently, you can do things such as laser therapy to remove the pigmentation. Caffeine serum is cope, it doesn't work. And also tanning helps as well. I actually used to be a lot more pale than what I am now. And the contrast between the under eye bags and my skin reduced a lot from darkening my skin tone slightly. As a flaw, I would say this is pretty fucking noticeable, man. Now we have genetically puffy cheeks. This does occur very regularly in Asian populations. Tristan Lee is a great example of this, who actually uses the thumbnail for my how to de-bloat video, where I basically go over what causes a fat face with a shredded body. And one of the reasons was the fat pads in the buccal region. If you genetically have this, unfortunately there's not much you can do about it, besides buccal fat removal. So because it's fixable, I'm gonna put this one into turkey trip. And finally, we have a narrow palate. So a narrow palate or a narrow arch is going to make your smile look very awkward. When you open up your mouth, this is characterized by having dark chasms in the side of your corners, and it contributes to a less charismatic appearance. Will it destroy your facial aesthetics? Not as much. A lot of male models have this, as because there's actually less teeth on the sides of your mouth, it's easier to have hollow cheeks, supposedly in most cases. Obviously, this is caused by your cheekbones and your mandible as well, but it can contribute to this look. So while yes, when you open up your mouth, it's definitely a flaw, it's not going to ruin your facial aesthetics. So I'm going to put this one into the top of minor flaw. All right, guys, let me know what you think. We didn't have any of them end up in not a flaw, as well, yeah, this is a flaws tier list. Mog your past self, and I'll see you in the next one.